I do not want to jump the gun here, but I do wonder if the Deep Sea King could be our first look at what a god level threat could be, because this guy is a freaking beast. Clearly, every other monster we have seen so far has been nothing but a joke compared to this king, because this guy, he did work. And so we see now in the beginning of episode 8, we have like this octopus, looking monster coming up to the surface, and obviously he was trying to get the humans. And we see now that, Saitama was the only hero there that would step up to him along with the Movement Rider. But obviously, the Movement Rider, he actually got there a bit too late, because we see now that this monster actually made a joke to Saitama about being bald, because he asked him if he was actually to an octopus. And we see now that the aftermath of that, with Saitama punching him, and that right there made his upper half, just explode. Even though we saw, the result off screen, it was obvious, what went down. And so right now, Saitama, he is definitely starting to get known, but people still aren't sure about his name. But we see now that he still has a bad rep, because people think that, because he has a C rank, he is still in upper heroes, their credit, and that right there could not be far from the truth. Saitama deserves all the credit he gets, because this guy, he beats everyone, with a punch. Everybody knows that, because they all know that he's strong. And I don't understand, just because he is C rank, that does not mean that, he needs help from all these other people. But we see now that the sea folk, they were not done, yet. That octopus guy, he was just the start. We see now that another group, in a much bigger number, they all came up now, and this time the hero who actually was gonna fight them, it was an A rank named Stinger. And I will say, this guy did look pretty cool. And so we see now Stinger, he actually did defeat, some monsters, but this battle had been going on for a while. And so obviously he was definitely getting, a bit tired. And we see now that, this guy took quite a beating, but he was still fighting. And we even see now that, Stinger, he actually appeared on the news, and we have Genos and Saitama, seeing him. And so right now, because Stinger was struggling, we see the other heroes were being called in as backup. And obviously, Saitama and Genesis, they were going to head to City J, because that's where it was going down. And so we see now, just when it seems that Stinger was going to be defeated, because right now he was definitely on his last leg, because he was so beat up, and he had all these monsters around him. We see him now bring out this one technique that allowed him to actually, take out these last 4 and pretty much one shots. And I will say that right there was definitely impressive. Stinger definitely is worthy of being in a rank A or class A. And I forgot what his rank was. I believe it rank 32, or maybe it was rank 30. No, it was, I believe rank 32 or rank 28. I forgot which one, but whatever it was, for taking out 10 of those, sea folk, what we learned at the end, this guy should definitely be, in the top 10 for rank A after that. But even though he had took them all out, they were not done yet. The most fearsome one, but still around. And this right here was the Deep Sea King. And we see him now take out, Stinger, pretty much, one hit. But then again, this guy was on his last leg. And so we see now first that the Deep Sea King, first I was not thinking much of him, because obviously I was thinking, maybe that, he would be fodder for, Saitama. But no, this guy was definitely, proving me wrong. And so right now we see another hero was there, Lightning Max. And at first he was watching the king from afar. And then we see out of nowhere this guy just, gets behind him. And then we have a scene out of a horror movie where we have the king behind Max. And his reaction was like priceless because this guy was like freaking out, and we see him now trying to attack the king, but it had, you know, no real damage. And then we see now King here easily overpowering Max because we have like one hit, sending Max flying, you know, into a building, and obviously that right there had hurt him. And so we see now when Max here had actually regained his composure and was actually able to do, you know, a proper attack, even that right there had no damage. So obviously, you know, not only is the king strong, but he is definitely very durable as well. And so right now, with like 2 heroes down, because we saw Max now falling, you know, out of nowhere, we have, you know, some guy in a prison outfit with like this ball and chain, you know, around his leg. He actually saved Max because I do believe falling from that height would have killed him. And so apparently this guy is the Puri Puri Prisoner, and we see now that, you know, this guy is an S rank, but he is the lowest S rank thanks to Genos. And so we see now that the reason why he was in jail it's because he could not hold back attacking beautiful men. And obviously, you know, this guy obviously this guy is gay, you know, there's no question about that. And so we see now that the prisoner, you know, we see that he actually, you know, he actually attacked me, you know, he actually fancied Lightning Max and Stinger. And so obviously, you know, he had a grudge, you know, against the king. And we even see now that, you know, this guy was like gonna fight him at half strength. And not only that, it seems that him and Sonic, you know, they were either close by or maybe they had, you know, shared the same cell, because we see now that, you know, Sonic was like able to escape because this guy had broke out. And so because of that now, you know, we have Sonic free, you know, once again. And so it was like, it was definitely funny to see though that, you know, this guy actually got, you know, arrested rather than like, you know, escaping after Saitama, you know, hit him one time. And so right now we have the prisoner getting ready to fight the king at full strength just to see how strong he was. And we see now that when he ripped like some kind of sweater he was wearing, you know, that right there made him get like really pissed off. And so right after that, we have him like transforming, and I was thinking, you know, this guy was like gonna pull off some kind of Sailor Moon stuff because that right there is what it seemed like. But we see now that this form of his, you know, when he transformed, it's just him being naked, which to me was just like, you know, like very weird and kind of random. And so right now in his angel form, you know, we have him jumping up, and out of nowhere this guy like gets these wings, and we see now that first, you know, Sonic was like going to leave because he did not want to see that, but obviously, you know, he has stayed to see the aftermath. And we see now that after prisoners, you know, Angel Rush, the king here took, you know, no real damage. You know, we saw like little bruises because earlier, you know, they had actually, you know, exchanged blows, you know, like one hit each. And right now, prisoner was like definitely hurting from that, but the king here had like barely felt it. And so right now, after his little, you know, ultimate attack did not do that much damage, we have King here pretty much, you know, like whooping him by actually, you know, pretty much, you know, by making him seem like fodder, and this guy just got blown out the way. And so right now we learned that the Deep Sea King, you know, he actually came here to mainly like rule the land, but also, you know, kill like all the humans, so that way, you know, the sea folk can actually control, you know, both land and water. And so right now we have, you know, Sonic and King fighting, and we see now that the King here was like way too slow, you know, to be hitting Sonic. Like we saw Sonic dodge everything, but we see now that when it started raining, that right there all changed as we learned, you know, as the fight went on, you know, King here was like getting stronger, faster, and like even bigger. And we see now that, now I'm not sure if maybe that right there was like for him or for all the sea folk, but apparently, you know, by him being on surface, that right there has tripled him and made him, you know, smaller than he actually was. But we see now that in its like real form, where he's at his max power, this guy is a freaking monster. And so we see now that, you know, Sonic, he could not really, you know, fight him, especially, you know, with no weapon, because obviously none of his hits were like really, you know, even hurting him. And also, there was like one scene back before King here had transformed, and we see now that he actually tried to use his tongue to attack Sonic, and that right there was just like so freaking nasty. His tongue was like the tongue of the Alien movies, and we see it now, trying to get Sonic, but Sonic here did something freaking awesome where he actually made him bite off his own tongue, and that right there was like definitely impressive. And so with like Sonic running off, we have Genesis and Saitama. At one point they had actually split up, and we see now that Sonic here, he actually found Genos, and for some reason I thought these two already like met at some point. I'm not sure why. Maybe because they already interacted with Saitama so much. But obviously, this right here was like their first real, their first real meeting, and we see now that Sonic here actually warned Genos, if he came here to fight the king, then he might as well just like back off, because there's no way he could beat him. And so right now, we see now that Sonic here still think that these heroes are, like mainly pretending, and we see now that, not even Genos could keep up with like Sonic's speed as he ran by him, and he was just gone. And so then at one point we have Saitama looking for the king as well. And we see that him and the Moomin Rider actually ran to each other, and they were like going to go fight the king. And also at one point we have I My Mask, who actually appeared on TV, and we see now that he. Sorry about that, my home phone was going off. Now where was oh yes, I My Mask. Now instead of going to City J and fighting the king, this guy was like on the news, doing like some kind of interview. But to me, in my mind, I still don't trust this guy. But that like all these heroes are struggling, even at S rank was defeated, like yourself. So rather than like being on the news right now, why not go to like City J and actually take on the king? Because that right there would be so much better, and at least it would give us a chance to see, what this guy could actually do. But we see now that while Saitama and the Moomin Rider was together, we see now that Sonic hand ran by, and Saitama actually saw him where Moomin Rider did not. And so right now Saitama was like going to chase after him, and we see now that the Moomin Rider actually got a phone call, from the hero. From the hero organization, and we see now that they had let him know where it was someone who had let him know where the king was, because he had went to like some kind of shelter, because we learned that this guy can actually sense humans, and we see now that like Genos had also picked up on the signal, because he has sensed so many different life forms. And so right now the king, he had reached it first, and we see now that he had easily broke into it. And so right now there was like one hero who was like undercover, who actually wanted to like plead with the king and see if there was like some way he could like spare them. And so right now, he was like, we surrender. What are your demands? Because we will comply with them. Just don't kill us. And so right now, the other king here, he was like, I have come here to kill you all. Your death is inevitable. And so right now, this guy was like so freaking scared, he actually pissed his pants. And I'm not gonna lie, even though that right there was just, so sad, I definitely, felt bad for the guy. But I'll be lying if I said I was not laughing, when he did that. And so right now we see that like there were also other heroes in there that were like hiding as well. There was like some kind of robot guy. There was also like one guy with an afro. Those two might be the same. I'm not really sure. But we also saw a Snake. Because like I said, that is what I call this guy. But we see now that the hero that actually pissed his pants, he was now going to fight, because he actually believed that like they can do this. And so right now we see that this hero's name was like all black man, and I do wonder like what kind of power or items or whatever he was. I do wonder, just how in the world does he fight to actually, earn that kind of name. But even though we did not see, them fight the king, it's obvious that they all lost. As we saw now, the like Snake got like thrown out the shelter. We have that the android guy all broken up, and then we have the other two, very beaten and bruised. And so right now we have Genos now appearing, and now and him versus the king. I feel that even though Genos is a main character, I feel that there is no way in the world that he can beat King. But I'll be lying if I didn't say that I was not hyped for that fight. I am definitely looking forward to it. And we see now that the Movement Rider, he actually well, not actually, but he accidentally left his phone back on the street where he just was. And we see now that it was the association, calling him back because obviously, this job is much bigger than him. But luckily, Saitama here picked it up, and we see now that, when Saitama told them who he was, obviously, no one knew who, right now, Saitama is still a nobody, even though he's a C rank. I'm guessing that they have a lot of them, so it's definitely kind of hard, to remember them all. And obviously, they definitely do, because, Saitama first rank was like in the 300s. But we see now that when you learn that, even an S rank was defeated, we see him now looking serious. So right now he knows that this here is a real major threat. And I cannot wait to see Saitama versus the King, which should be next week unless Genos here can actually, pull out a win. But like I said, I kind of doubt that. But overall, this episode, it was freaking amazing. It was fantastic. King here is definitely, King here is hands down the best monster we have seen so far. And hopefully, hopefully this guy can give Saitama our first real challenge, because that right there will be freaking hype. Like, I don't know what. But as always, let me know what you guys thought. And please do not forget to like and subscribe, because it helps me out. But as always, you gotta take it easy. I will see you all next time.